Hello.
How's it going?
We're back.
Session 9. All right. So, pad and paper. We are this should be a quick one today. So we may not get through everything, but we should get significantly far. Tabletop RPG based on Path of Exile, and we have gone quite a ways. And we'll let Kaylah explain what has happened so far, what happened last time.
Okay, so last time on Path of Paper, we jumped through that portal and we woke up and we were in like this house of mirrors. It was a place of many mirrors. We were in a mirrored hallway, and then we went down the hallway and we went to a room where it was all mirrors. There were 3 mirrors. We could see our past, our future, and our near present, near future. A bit shady on the middle mirror. There was also a pool, a mirrored pool in the middle, and all of a sudden we were fighting a frog. And unfortunately, we didn't read the map mods properly, and it was reflect. So we fought Yugal, and as we damaged Yugal, we also damaged ourselves. But we beat
each other.
Well, each other, yeah. Each other, but also, are we not the same person? But yeah, we finally beat down the frog, and Quizzix found a mirror of Calandra, which was pretty cool.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And that took a really long time to beat that frog because he was tough. But yeah, and then we eventually caught up with one another. We found, because we were all separated at that point, we found each other. We went up some stairs, and then we were all there, and we had a bit of a chat about what had gone on. And then we ended up in a room that we weren't sure what was going on, but we could see a door through a mirror, lots of mirrors. Eventually, we found some footprints, and we solved a puzzle by walking over apparently something that's called a dune, but I call it a sandhill.
Puzzle that wasn't really a puzzle. The puzzle was, in fact, that it wasn't a puzzle at all. It was just walking forward. But you expected it to be a puzzle, therefore your perception is what actually made it harder. And it's just like a mirror would be.
Yep. But we got there in the end. We found a door. We went through it. And through, I think we found our friends, Tehan and Osu. And they were there with some corpses, and then also there was old Morien. And he was mean, and we fought him, but then he had the help of some chick who we later found out was Calandra, and she kept fracturing Morien, but then he'd shimmer away. This was old Morien though, not young Morien, was fighting old Morien. He said we were going to ruin everything, and he had to stop us. But we didn't want any of that, so we just took him down. And then I think Calandra said some crazy stuff. We heard some crazy stuff.
Yeah, Calandra never spoke, but she did hold up one finger at you while holding on to the beat down old Morien, and opened up a portal and jumped into it to escape. She smiled at you, but she never said anything.
She didn't say anything. There you go. Oh, we found some corpses of Creation, and I think it was just Creation. Might have been another old god.
Venomous.
Venomous,
There's
yeah.
a big ass spider and a big crab, but we're not sure who they are. You can reasonably assume they were both the remaining first ones.
Yeah. Then we ended up in the Nexus with Annie and Tibbers. And that's where we finished off, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So you went to Creation's Lair, the last first one you've yet to meet, try to figure out why you've been sent to the past. All the other gods that you've met pretty much pointed to him to be the one that would tell you, because he's the oldest. And they got you there. And you did all that stuff that you said. You fought Yugal. And you made it through all the crazy mirror puzzles, or the one crazy mirror puzzle. It wasn't really a puzzle at all, to make it to what looked like Morien. Morien said that you were going to destroy the cycle, you were going to destroy the world, and he had to stop you, but he's pretty vague on what that meant. He knew that you wouldn't listen to reason, and just decided to fight. And Kalendra kept copying him, making copies of him, and y'all took him down. Eventually, he did escape. Osu and Tehan were caught in a trance, watching one of Kalandra's mirrors that was pulled up in front of them, watching their lives play out before over all the potentialities of their life. Basically, just stunned, sitting there, having to look at all these eventualities. But the one thing that rang true is that they knew that Osu was pregnant and she was going to have kids. And Tehan said, right before you left, right before you jumped into the portal to chase after Kalandra, that he understood what was going on, that he knows that you need to save the cycle, and he told you that you have to chase your beasts to protect the cycle survivors, and that he would be fine. They would find a way back up to the surface. The portal was still open that you left back in the beginning, so I guess they're going to go back and jump in there and get back to the surface, where all of the tribes people that Tehan and Osu came from discovered that the blood of the gods is like a fountain of youth almost, and has a ton of power, and they're just now starting to realize how powerful it is, which was the birth of the Vaal. And the last thing that happened is you were in the Nexus and you met Anecdote, who was in the form of a little girl this time instead of an old man. All the stuff around the desk that Anecdote sits at was broken this time, and it's just a little girl coloring a piece of paper. And she was coloring a rune, and as you talked to her, she tried to answer, but it was really like talking to a child. Eventually, she got fed up and angry and just started yelling at you to fix everything without telling you what to fix. And she hit her head on the desk, and there was some shattered glass, and she was bleeding, and then she just threw the paper she was coloring with the rune on it at you, and it engulfed you. And that's the last thing that happened. You lost consciousness in a sea of red. All right. Anything else? All right. So, last thing, you lost consciousness after a big ass rune on a piece of paper fell over you. You don't know what's happening, but eventually you do wake up, each one of you no longer as one person, again, broken up into four, and you're in a very dark room. You can feel cool stone beneath your hand, but you can't see anything around you. It's like perfect dark in here.
Hello?
Hi. Did we all make it?
I'm here.
No. I mean, yeah.
Tiberius?
Hello.
Okay, we are all here. Am I blind, or is it very dark in here?
Unless we're all blind. Well,
I think it's dark.
Very.
You can reach out.
You reach out and you
Hey.
feel a cold stone of the wall next to you that you're leaning up against,
Get
as
your
well
hand
as
away from my
Tiberius'
gun.
leg.
And my hand up his leg now.
Yeah, I think there's somebody here.
Taylor, I think you need to shave.
care to shed some light, Quizzix?
I have no idea what happened. Oh, you mean actual light,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I summon a bit of flame to give us some light and have a look around.
All right. Small light flickers from Quizzic's hand, and it looks like you're in a small chamber, small room, about 5 meters in length and width. You can see in the center of the room, barely in the flickering light, that there is a square altar with some hieroglyphs carved up the side of it. And on top of the altar is a black bowl, and something is dripping from above it into the bowl.
I'm going to head over to the altar and have a bit of a sniff around.
So it is a sickly sweet scent, very strong all around you. Not necessarily bad, but definitely not good. Like some sort of decay that you're smelling. The closer you come to the altar, the more clear it becomes that the liquid is a deep and dark red and dripping from somewhere far above.
Does this at all look familiar to me?
Yes, in that it's blood.
I mean the situation, not the liquid specifically.
The hieroglyphs are definitely Vaal, but they're more stylistic than actual usage.
Right. Are there any doors, windows, holes into this room?
You might need to make the light a little bit brighter.
All right, I will do that.
Try and raise the intensity of the fireball, and upon doing that, and the brief flash that you're able to do that, you do see that there is one side of the wall. Looks like there's some runes carved into a square that has some hieroglyphs in it, and there's a seam around it, probably a door, but it's a big stone piece of wall. But more importantly, the ceiling that you couldn't see above you, probably about 30 meters up, is a massive obsidian diamond. And you can see the large diamond-shaped object is suspended in the air by some sort of chain mechanism. The tip top of the diamond is piercing through the ceiling itself, leaving an opening around it. You can see the blood dripping from the opening, whatever is above there, following the seams and the edges of the diamond, flowing down the shape of it into the very bottom tip, where it's pulling to these large droplets or falling down into the bowl.
And the bowl is... Did you say the bowl was full already and overflowing, or...
Oh no, well,
I
it
make that up.
seems to stay the same amount no matter how many drips it goes into. It's probably draining at the bottom,
Okay.
but there's no way to really know without reaching your hand in there, which I would not recommend. However, the door on the other
I was
side,
thinking about
with the seam and the hieroglyphs, seems like it could be moved, but it is going to be pretty heavy.
Well, I can't read what that says. Can anyone else?
Oh, it's not actually saying anything of import, more decorative runes.
Okay. They look really different to the runes we saw before. They're familiar to
Yes.
you.
Yes, they are. I believe this is close to my time. Well, there appears to be some kind of door over here. I head over,
Mm-hmm.
leaving the central bit behind, and have a bit of a closer look at the what should be a doorway.
Yeah, so again, more stylized runes than anything, more stylized hieroglyphs than anything, not runes. The runes are magical, the hieroglyphs are just pictures. Stylized glyphs than anything, but you do see a seam around it, so it's definitely meant to be open and closed. It just looks like it's a pretty heavy-duty object.
Speak
So
friend.
you can try to push it open, but it's going to take a little bit of strength.
No magic word. Speak friend and enter, sort of thing.
You can try putting magic on it and see what happens in this tiny chamber.
Just blow us all up, Quizzix, why don't you?
When you find out what you're in, it's going to be a lot more funny. You suggest that.
Well, there's a door, but I push against it a bit. I don't think I'm going to be able to move it.
Nope. I take a push on it. There's your roll.
All right, Nathan, make an athletics check, and you guys can help him if you want.
I stand back out of his way.
Yeah.
Okay, Morien.
Rolls there. 25.
All right. So, although it looked heavy, it's not actually as heavy as it looked. So you end up pushing a little bit harder than you need to and stumbling out onto a large platform. And the cold night air rushes in as you move the stone. You can hear it grinding against itself, but again, it's pretty easy to move. You can see stars above you, and the large platform is about double the length and width of the room you were in. But most importantly, you are at the top of a massive ziggurat, and you can see a city sprawling beneath you, like as far as the eye can see. And you're just towering above it where you are right now. And looking around, there are several more of similar ziggurats built at intervals throughout the city. You can see lights coming from different buildings below, different places below, and more lights seem to be coming on. But everyone else is inside the room. When you all leave the room, I'll need a perception check.
Yeah, well, when the door is opened, I will definitely step out and have a look around.
And I will follow closely behind.
I see my feet.
Me too.
Oh, right. Yeah, use athletics. Here you go, Morien. Morien gained a feat using athletics. Resilient constitution. Because he has athletics and survival, he's become, and again, a second time he's got a feat for that. Therefore, it's a little bit more beneficial than it was the first time. He's become highly resistant to poison and disease, halving the damage from these effects or the effects in general, as well as gaining the ability to attempt to create one use of antidotes from the remains of a creature or type of thing which placed the effect on him in the first place. And that requires a survival check in order to make the antidote, depending on the difficulty is like whatever the creature was in the first place. You can have as many of those as you want on you, but they're one-use items and they're destroyed. It's a minor action in combat. It takes the place of basically using a flask to heal yourself. But you can share it with other party members is a big thing. So you can start making antidotes, sharing them around, and then, if y'all start fighting a lot of one type creature, you'll all be able to pretty much ignore the poison damage.
Not worth grabbing.
Cool.
Now, back for some reason in the weirdest spot in my notes. Let me scroll all the way back. Okay, so everyone did their perception check. So, Quizzix, first off, this is the Vaal City, but before we get into that, you see that the lights coming on, there are more lights coming on, and those torches are set up along the stairs in the ziggurat, along the stairs going down into the city. And all the torches in the other ziggurats are just off, but your torches seem to be coming on in pairs, pair by pair, coming up the stairs themselves. And you start to see some movement down the city below as several figures are making their way up towards you. And during this time, you're in the Vaal City, and you recognize the layout, the architecture. However, these ziggurats were not here before. When you were here, they were like the pipe dream of this crazy engineer guy that you knew in the Machinarium named Doriani. He pretty much spoke to anybody at length about these wild machines and theories, anyone who had listened to him, basically. But everybody just wrote him off as being insane, because who would do such barbaric overkill? But they kept him around because of how good he was in the Machinarium. He's just a really good engineer. But it looks like someone important finally took him up on his ideas. And made these ziggurats. Now, the Empire has always been sustained by blood and sacrificial magic. That's known, but it was never more than an inconvenience to you. You had to donate a little bit of blood to fuel your own research, or at the request of your queen, just as a tax. But this looks like the entire infrastructure is built around it, and there's no telling what could possibly require this much power, making these ziggurats basically big magic power stations to collect blood.
And we're right at the top, so whatever was dripping blood down into the thing is coming from, like, the very apex of the
Yes.
pyramid.
Yeah. Well, you're not at the very top. There is a chamber above you that, could potentially have
That's
stuff
where
in
it's
it.
coming from. Yeah.
And so this is basically, these are like power stations fueling blood magic. You implicitly understand the reason for it because that's just a Vaal thing. But there's absolutely no reason to have this much happening. It's never been that crazy. There's never been a need for this much power. But you also recognize, being Vaal, people that are coming up the stairs slowly. You see the small green feathered headdresses, and they're definitely city guard.
Do they look like they're coming towards us specifically, or just that they're patrolling?
Yeah, there's one set of stairs, and they're walking up them.
Are we in the sky? Is that what a ziggurat?
Yes, you're at very high up on this ziggurat near the top, looking down upon the massive city. One long stairway in front of you with torches alongside it, and the guards are walking up towards you.
Well, company approaches. But, this is not quite as I remember. I think this is perhaps a little after my time. These big ziggurats were not here. They were just a dream.
You're still probably in the best position to
Oh, certainly.
let you take the lead with these guys then. They don't look too friendly.
No, they're just the guard.
They still don't look too friendly.
Oh, really?
They can't help the faces they were born with.
All right, so they're almost there. They're about midway up, about to reach the platform where you're at. You see that there are about 8 of them. You can tell they're ranked basically by the 2 green feathers they have in a cross formation behind their heads. Someone of higher rank would have more feathers in their cap, as is the saying goes.
Well, I think we can just let them approach.
I suggest that you turn Morien into a bowling ball, have him roll down the stairs, knock them all off at once. But barring that, the guards finally reach the platform where you are. And there are, in fact, 8 of them. And they are all holding these long, intricately carved, dragon-tipped spears. And they quickly move into positions on either side of you, 4 and 4, to try and surround you. And as they do move into that position, you notice that a 9th person is walking behind them, and he comes up in between the guards slowly towards you. He has the same green feathers in his hat, same color, but significantly more of them. They're flaring out like a fan shape above his head. And he steps forward with his hands behind his back, and he's got his chest out, and he's walking all imperiously. And he begins to speak in a language most of you don't recognize for some reason, unlike the other time Quizzix does. But slowly as he talks, it begins to make more and more sense to each one of you until you start to hear him in your own native tongue. Wate kone ayo on trespassing on sacred collection grounds, which carries with it the penalty of death and sacrifice in servitude of your queen. You will face a trial tomorrow morning. You may dispute these claims by the guile of your wit and the strength of your arm. If you prove to be worthy of your life and soul, then you shall be allowed to keep them in service of your queen. He finally, for the first time, actually looks directly at each of you. He starts scowling. Seems only one of you is a sovereign citizen of the Vaal. Do you speak for these foreigners, Imekanui?
I do indeed.
Quizzix?
Yep.
Very well. Come willingly or be brought forcibly. Tepiani, bring them. So, seems like the words aren't directly translating, not all of them. So wherever the translations are originating from, or wherever they're happening, it's only doing so when the words can be directly understood in your own language. Because one of the problems with like a universal translator like Star Trek style is that words are like ideas. They're not necessarily one-to-one representations of letters and sounds. So some of the words just don't directly translate. You have to get them from context. Of course, Quizzix can usually tell you what they are, but dialects change over time. The guards move in closer and begin to circle you, all 8 of them.
Yeah. Take us to your holding cell, I assume, before the trial.
Just scowls at you. Yeah, well, we'll take you, but I don't think that we have holding cells anymore. Anyway, come. Hilarious joke. And he walks and turns to go back down the stairs, and the guards surround you and begin to sort of point their spears to get you to walk with them.
You can keep the sharp end away. I do know how to walk forwards, thank you. And I proceed to walk down after the guy who... Did he give us his name? I don't think he did.
He did not.
The guy with the most...
A couple of the guards smile at that and put their spears back. They're not too worried about you as people, but you're trespassing, so just trying to get you off of the ziggurat here.
I very quickly and very quietly just follow Quizzix's lead.
Kayla attempts to walk and look exactly like Quizzix does in order to follow the local custom and mimics him.
Ministry of Silly Walks, here we come.
Yes. Mimics his mannerisms to try to not offend anyone. All right. The guards form a square formation around the party as you make your way down the stairs. And the captain is walking a little ways ahead of you down the stairs. And on your way down, you can see that the city sprawls around you in a deep tan cut stone, forming huge complex buildings surrounded by much smaller, simpler stone houses. Temples and fountains can be identified, as well as green patches of farmland dotted among and surrounded by the sprawl itself. You can see a river running in the distance in front of you, which is very wide and running lazily to the south, or what's your left right now. Stone structures have been built around the river to divert the water into and throughout the city. Now, the river should be familiar to you. You recognize it as the river that, you dealt with before the other time. Slowly, when you reach the bottom of the stairs, you're standing on the dark stone of a roadway surrounded by stone buildings. Some of the pillars that hold up the facades of these buildings are carved with intricate symbols sprawling and spiraling around them. Others are just square blocks with the holes cut through them. Houses are not as fancy at all, but the holes are for windows and doors. The chaos of the variation of buildings makes it really hard to tell whether you're in a good part of town or not, and many of the structures seem to be connected in one way or another, with rough-cut archways above your heads for walkways from one building to the other, or stairways leading from a looming temple directly into a small hut of a house. There's really no rhyme or reason.
Well, you said chaos. Chaos is a good thing.
But a lot of the stone does have drawings in it, or faux gold inlays in it of little suns or little scenes of Vaal history. At least Quizzix would identify it as such, but most of you, it's just nonsense.
If I were to talk to, say, Tiberius or Morien right now, would the guards understand it, or would it just seem like gibberish to them?
Who knows?
Well, start talking and ask the guards.
Well, no, because I want to sort of tug on Tiberius's arm and say, I know where we are. Well, that's exactly what I do. I tug on Tiberius's arm and say, I know where we are. We've been here, right?
I give her a questioning look.
No? I hit my head last time I fell?
I shrug.
Tiberius, man of many words.
Yeah. It makes sense that they wouldn't like each other, because she doesn't like innocence and he really likes it. But anyway. The guards do understand you, by the way. They just don't care.
Okay.
They know you're foreigners, so it makes sense that you wouldn't know where you are. You don't look like them. And Quizzix is basically the only reason that you haven't been just straight up killed.
Okay.
But the captain takes a right turn, and when you reach the bottom of the ziggurat, you're on the stone, and leads your procession around the side of the pyramid. And as you reach the right side of it, behind the pyramid where you're standing, to the opposite side of where you're looking for, you can see, first off, while you're walking, you can see several Vaal citizens peeking out their houses looking at you, and a few rubbernecking from the street with little regard for the snarls and mean looks of the guards as they stop in the middle of the street to stare them down. But looking up is when you see that there is a much larger ziggurat in the distance, and this one looks like it's lined with gold and red hieroglyphs around its entirety, with lines of red running up the corners of that you can see anyway, the corners of the structure all the way to the tip, and the tip itself looks to be made of solid gold. Now, this ziggurat could easily be triple the size of the ones you've seen throughout the city, and it's surrounded on four sides by pyramid-shaped temples. Now, it could just be really far away, but this looks insanely big, if so.
I give some of the people who are staring at us a little bit of a wave as we're walking.
Yeah, they like nervously smile and nod and kind of go back to what they were doing. Now you can lore check to see if you recognize this massive ziggurat in the distance.
Sure.
That is definitely the Queen's Palace, but it was no way, shape, or form this gaudy back in your day. Let me see. Yeah, this is no way, shape, or form this gaudy back in your day. It was definitely bigger, but not nearly so gold and the red stuff, and you really don't know what those red lines are going up the side of it. It's like someone really went crazy with the infrastructure here. You also gain your feet. Spirit Talker. So Soulcraft and Lore were the two stats. You can attempt to conjure the spirit of a being who lived in the area from a long ago to provide insight on the surroundings, or potentially assist with solving riddles or puzzles, etc. And it can be done once per rest for every 10 Soulcraft score, minimum one time. And so you can't really use them to like help you with combat unless the enemy you're fighting has significant Soulcraft or soul manipulation, because only those with those abilities can actually see these spirits or perceive them at all. So you get like 20, I think. You can conjure soul twice per day to ask them what's going on or to help you with solving something.
That's cool. I like that.
That is cool.
So yeah, definitely the Queen's Palace up there. Someone went to town, someone rich as hell, definitely put gold all over it. The Vaal were pretty big traders, but they were never that bougie. They pretty much focused on research and everything. It wasn't really a big, merchant state, but apparently something's changed. You're walked through the city, and it's still dark out, it's still nighttime, but just a little bit past with the ziggurat, you're brought to a fenced-in stone building nearby. There's guards hanging around it. Looks like this might be the guard station, and they bring you in single file into the building, and inside there are a lot of people, crowd in there, and they're all standing in different lines in front of a long stone desk that runs from wall to wall in front of you. And there's a lot of tired-looking Vaal working behind it. And your guard breaks off just as you make your way inside. There's other guards around the building inside that jab at people and herd them into orderly lines. And eventually you're also herded and jabbed into standing with a crowd of Vaal in a line yourself. Now, most of the people you see are wearing rags and just regular citizens, almost peasants. But you do see a few confident-looking men and women in actual full armor and weapons at their sides, talking and jeering at one another as they wait for their processing. They don't look like they're too perturbed to be getting arrested. They look like they're fine being here, and no one took their weapons or their stuff. They're just waiting to get processed.
Yeah, well, no one's taken our weapons or stuff yet either. I think we definitely fall in that category of not too perturbed to be here. Well, at least I do.
Just happy to be home.
Curious to be home. It's changed since I've been gone. More than the few weeks that I've actually been gone.
Probably been longer than that, but there's no way to know. This could perhaps be the same exact time you left, just a different entire timeline. There's no knowing. So you're in a line, waiting for yourself to be processed. No one really knows what's going on besides that you've been arrested for something, and apparently the arrest for trespassing is just straight up sent to this trial or killed or sacrificed, ostensibly for your blood. But as you're standing in line, there is a man to your right in the line next to you that's just staring at Morien in his wolf tail scarf. His eyes are wide at that, and he's a big man, the big wolf tail going all the way down to his knees. Definitely a little bit weirded out by you. After a little bit, and he notices that he gets Morien's attention. He leans forward towards you and asks very quietly, Are you the survivors?
We've been through a lot. That would be an accurate description.
We are certainly survivors. I don't know if we're the survivors.
He scowls a little bit and then looks back towards the front of the line.
Oh, we are the survivor.
After a moment, you can notice that he pulls something out of his pocket, and you can do a perception check to see what that is.
My perception sucks, but alrighty.
Yeah, Morien, since he's the one talking. You're not sure what it is, but what you do notice is that you look away for half a second. When you look back, this guy is gone. He's no longer standing there, the dude that asked you the question. So whatever he was trying to figure out, who knows? Either way, he is out of here. Now, eventually, waiting in line, which is obviously the best thing to do in a tabletop RPG, you do reach the front. And you can see behind the desk in front of you is an older Vaal woman that just looks very tired. It's late, and she's got the night shift. And she looks up at each one of you and finally just directs you to come up and step up in front of the line in a little cordoned off area, give you some room to walk. And she asks you to stand in front of her.
Oh.
The names?
Quizzix Apatzel, Your Honor.
And who are these?
They have mouths. I'm sure they can introduce themselves.
They are not a Vaal.
No, they are not.
Then what are their names?
I look across at the others.
Morien.
So you're scribbling it down as your answer.
My name is Kaylah.
Tiberius.
She puts an eyebrow up at that. Sounds similar to something she's heard before, but she doesn't pry. Place of origin?
Oriath?
Here. More or less.
Mm-hmm.
Not here.
Place of origin? Look, I am very tired. Let's do this the quick way. Give me your hands.
I hold out my hand to her.
As do I.
She grabs it roughly, takes out a pin, and pokes her finger. There's a little bit of blood pool. She pushes it down onto the paper, create a print, puts that page aside, does the same thing to Kaylah, pushes it down, looks at the two of you, didn't give her hands.
Oh, just grow up and give her your hands. Come on. Let's get this over with.
I give it my hand.
She stabs you right in the center of the palm just to be mean and smears it onto the page.
Yeah. The blood that's already coming out of the face breakers, so I just go.
When she holds up the page and wipes some of it off, but it's fine. It'll work. So she marks each page swiftly and puts it to the side. After everything's taken care of, she takes a moment to look at each one of them. The blood seems to change colors. All right, so one of the Vaal, others of foreigners, other origins. So trials or sacrifice?
Say that again, sorry?
Trials or sacrifice?
Trials?
Trials.
Do you wish to be tested for your worth before our great queen in order to gain your freedom and a place among warriors? Or do you wish to serve the empire by offering yourselves as blood sacrifices to ensure the betterment of all peoples? Next Lahat Saliti.
Trials. For the queen.
Yes, I thought as much. She puts all the pages in a different stack. Very well. You of the Vaal, do you accept responsibility for the actions taken by your companions both during and after the trials? She looks at Quizzix.
I do indeed.
Then you are allowed to live on a provisional basis and offered the freedom and glory of the trials. Please follow the corridor to your left. Next.
One cross each. Out the door, line on the left.
There's a door to your left in the stone, and she directs you to get out of the way so someone else can come up and get marked.
I lead these 3 bumbling idiots who I am now responsible for over in that direction.
Yeah. So everything they do, Quizzix is going to be responsible for. They're foreigners.
Started right.
You walk.
To be fair, you are
I was
me.
about to say,
so I was
turn around
already
and punch her in the
responsible.
face now.
You can always try. So you walk through the doorway, and when you enter, there are no guards around, no guards to be seen anymore. It's just a straight, long, sloping hallway that's gently sloping downwards, with sconces built into the walls all the way down to light the way. After a few minutes of walking, it's clear you're decently far underground at this point, but eventually you do reach a wide open room, and it's filled with people. Lots of some foreigners in here too, but some look like they're just scared, ragged people just like above, but many more are confident-looking soldiers in full gear. There's a lot more down here than you saw up in the processing area, and all of them are standing around this massive chamber with several stone doorways, walkways all around it, lining the wall, and there are people filtering in through them at random intervals. There are old carpets of various colors that are all over the stone floor, thrown around haphazardly, creating an odd tapestry below your feet. And you can see people have collected stockpiles of weapons and armor in corners of the chamber, and some are engaged in haggling over these things, over the prices and the worth of each item. And above you, the ceiling is in the shape of a pyramid as well, basically like if you were looking from the inside. There are openings along the top of the pyramid, and there is light streaming down from this top. There are mirrors placed along the walls to reflect this light, and it looks kind of familiar to something that you've seen before. In the center of the chamber, there is a massive fountain.
Is
So
it
here,
spurting blood?
sort of this underground. It's not. Well, you can't tell, but it's not red, so probably not blood. So it's a big, huge chamber, almost like a small town, but not so big. There are a lot of shops, people offering gems and gear, even shops offering machine parts, mechanism parts, broken, such as those that would be used in the Machinarium. There are soldiers and ragged people all milling about, walking around, just kind of going about their business. Kind of interesting, but they're all underground. It seems to be a thriving little economy down here.
Doesn't seem much like a prison.
Are these trials something I've heard of before?
Oh no, it's not.
Not asking in context of the trials in PoE, as in.
You can roll lore to find out if you know where you are. All right, so you're not exactly sure where in the city you are, besides the knowing where you were before because you saw the Queen's Palace. But you do notice that these look eerily similar to the old drainage system that the city had before. They were pretty proud of it. It was very ahead of its time, designed by engineers of the Machinarium. Looks like it's been converted to whatever this is. And that's why it took you underground to get here. But
Right.
A lot of people converted its old drainage systems. There are new drains along the sides of the wall. But other than that, it's not clear. Everyone seems to be like they're having a fine time. Some people look really scared. It's almost like a shanty town. But the soldiers look fine. They're just kind of enjoying themselves down there. And the merchants seem fine too. They're just selling stuff to everybody.
Is it guarded at all? Can we see?
You don't see any guards around you. Nope. It's pretty much just people.
Fanciest prison I've ever been in.
Well, it's not a prison.
I thought we were being held for trial.
We are going to participate in some trials to prove our worth in honor of our queen. It's not quite the same thing as being a prisoner. A prisoner goes towards sacrifice.
Are we going to have to fight, do you think?
I assume so.
Okay.
They did give you a choice between trials or sacrifice.
I remember I heard something about... I couldn't quite understand everything that they were saying, but I definitely heard them say something about trials of wit. You'll be good at that, won't you, Quizzix?
You'll be glad I'm here.
Tiberius and Morien make a perception check while they're discussing how smart Quizzix is.
No.
Oof.
Oof.
Morien, there's a pretty woman in a green veil that you saw walking around. That's about it. Like, damn, she's pretty fine. But beyond that, don't see much else. Tiberius is absolutely just too hungry to think. He's not really paying attention to anything. But it is a town. You can walk around, you can buy stuff. You can try and talk to people and ask what's going on. You can craft here if you want. Find a place to rest.
We haven't rested for a while.
Yeah, taking a rest would probably be good before whatever the trials have in store.
But I wouldn't mind checking out the merchants before that, because I'm going to guess that after the rest, it might go straight into the trial. So maybe we should... You said there were a couple of merchants selling gems?
Oh yeah, there's gear, gem sellers, and shops offering machine parts. Because there is a Macedonian pretty big part of Vaal culture that people built machines like the Vaal oversoul from the game. So some dude just selling random machine parts, he's a squirrel down here. Always try crafting with artificing something crazy.
And goody, my first one's intakes completed.
Having a look at what... Well, I don't have much to buy stuff with, but I do have a bunch of spec. Can I sell?
Oh yeah.
Yep. I've got a few things to pawn off.
Okay, so I'd like to find the merchant that looks like they've got armor, because I'm going to assume that they'll take my armor.
Yeah, so it's just an old man who's got a bunch of armor and weapons. He's just kind of like pulling through a pile and finding what people might want and just shoving it in their face, trying to get them to buy them. You can see that there are some ragged Vaal citizens trying to haggle with him to buy something to help them in the trials because they have nothing to their name. They're just people, just regular peasants who were caught doing who knows what. They don't have any weapons. They're just like trying desperately to get him to sell, and he's yelling at them to have some money or come back.
I'm going to follow Kaylah over to him.
Yep.
Indeed.
He sees your squad come over. Yes, these people, they have money. Look at how they are dressed. Yeah, surely I have something that could replace that. The thing you are wearing. I don't recognize the style. He's looking at Morien. But I would give you a very good price for the, the thing. It gets cold down here. I would like to stuff that in a pillow and sleep upon it at night.
So would I. Are you going to say anything?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull out a magic heavy plate armor from my backpack that somehow fits in there amazingly.
From your hammer space backpack.
Yeah. And say, what can you give me for this?
Yeah. Takes it, starts to inspect it, pulls out a spyglass that's got glyphs all around it, and it lights up as he looks at it. Oh, this is magical. And what does it do?
Makes you more resistant to the elements.
Yes. So with that wolf tail, but I suppose this is worth it as well. How much are you asking for this?
What orbs? These magic orbs. Do you have the alchemy?
I will offer you 2 transmutes.
I look at Quizzix. Is that fair?
I shrug. It's your item.
Deal.
I want to scout the background. And
All right. Wait, you're gonna scowl and intimidate him? All right.
I get that.
All right. You're gonna come up and scowl at him. He doesn't understand why you're scowling at him, but you can go ahead and intimidate him. Yeah, Kaylah's also lucky with negotiation too. Tiberius is lucky with intimidation. He is intimidated. He's pretty scared of you, but you're not the one doing the deal, so he's just shakily taking out the transmutes and offering it to Kaylah. I don't suppose you're looking for something good, sir. Something to adorn your beautiful manly body. Perhaps some pants. I have a fairly large selection.
I just look at the transmutes that he's trying to give Kaylah.
And I just take them and put them in my bag because I feel like I've gotten a decent deal there.
God damn it!
You guys could have taken more items. I've got... Why don't you sell some stuff that you have?
I'm waiting for you to do your thing.
I'm done. I've got my 2 transmutes.
With your thing.
Oh, thanks, but...
Yeah, he doesn't know why you're being intimidating, though. Doesn't understand the reason.
Neither did I, apparently.
You expressed the reason for your intimidation. You just made him really scared.
And want to give you some pants.
He's like trying to offer you whatever he's got. He just doesn't know what you want.
I thank you. And I put the transmutes in my backpack.
He doesn't take his eyes away from Tiberius the whole time. Anything else I can help you find people with the trials tomorrow morning? Surely you need something to protect you. I have many items, many magical items yet to be identified. I tell you that I have not touched them. They have just been taken from unfortunate souls that failed their trials.
Well, I have a couple of things I wouldn't mind offloading.
Of course, we can always use more. Less and less people with items have been coming to these trials. It seems that there are only peasants left willing to face down and become heroes of the Empire. People do not care about home and country anymore, but I digress. Sell me what you have, my friend.
I pull out a rare staff.
He looks at that and he can already tell something going on with this thing. Pulls out his little spider. I like this. What does this do?
I really don't know how to describe this in character. It's got -2 enemy threshold and +1 threshold ailment duration on it.
It makes your enemies more flammable is what it does. I like it. I will offer you an alchemy for this.
I will take the alchemy.
Offers it. Tosses the staff back with reckless abandon.
And I pull out a jade amulet as well. And I've got one of these. It gives you it makes you much healthier, much more durable. It has +life on it.
Yes, we have seen these before. Very useful. Many people like them. 1 transmute.
Deal. Thank you, kind sir.
I chuck a pair of leather magic boots at him and point at a bow.
You actually you hit him in the face. What the hell? And then he gets up and looks at, oh, what are these?
Boots, I say, and then point at the bow.
Yes, they are, in fact, boots. Here, I see you are eyeing this nice bow. Why don't you take this and walk to there are nice food stalls on the other side of the chamber. I'm sure you're hungry. Take the bow. We can just call it even. The bow is magic. You can identify it.
That's a D10 roll, isn't it?
Yes.
Not high enough, I don't think.
No, so it's magic.
Yep, still magic.
Which means on a bow, because it's two-handed, you get 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 24, 29. See, increased threshold effect duration and increased threshold effect duration.
Fucking give me a non-garbage bow, you stupid game.
All better.
That's the
I
other
mean, if
thing.
you were doing an Ignite build, that'd be crazy good, but yeah.
You're doing a freezing shadow, so.
True, you'll have them chilled for like 4 turns now. So as you're buying and selling, the woman in green comes back to the edge of your vision, Morien, and you saw her before. She's got the goods, so you decide to look at her, and she's where you're at again. Seems like you walked a little distance away from where you were to the right, and she's near you. Could just be a coincidence. It's kind of like you're at a game convention. There's a lot of people going about, but this lady's here again. Anything else to sell this guy? Anything else to buy? There's also gem sellers and machinarium machine parts.
What does this guy have in the way of jewelry, amulet and rings?
I have a selection of anything you can think of, good sir. Anything. Some not even touched or worn once, only a little blood.
Let me just open up the base items real quick.
So these trials tomorrow, I'm asking the Can you tell me more about them? I've never been to one before.
I know you haven't, or else you would not be here. Yes, so people down here, there are 2 kinds. People looking for a way out of punishment and sacrifice, and people who are looking to make some money. Of course, some would say there's a 3rd kind, but they are foolish and headstrong. The trials are a way to prove your worth to the Queen, prove your worth to the Empire. The Empire has gone fat and lazy in its success, and many people do nothing to help the defense of it. Our temples are besieged all the time by random, strange adventurers, foreigners coming in, destroying and stealing things, and our defense force has been raised through the implementation of these trials. At the end of the trial, a great power is bestowed upon the soldiers that are able to defeat each trial and come out the victor. The blood that they say is saved from the gods is bestowed upon the victors themselves. I don't know how much I believe that, but I do know that you are definitely in the gold if you make it to the end. The Queen lavishes all soldiers who win the trials with whatever they can hope for, in exchange for their eternal servitude, of course. However, I'm sure you're more asking in the ways of what will and will not kill you, and for that, I cannot say, for they change them almost every time.
Sounds fair. Do many people make it to the end?
Not very many. Not very many at all. Less so now than before. still more and more stupid young men and women come here seeking fame and glory, but no one has made it in quite a few moons.
And yet they come, which certainly works for you.
And yet they still come, which is great for me. I make more money as I come down here as a merchant, but bad for them. Lately, there has been a rash of Vaal nobles bringing their own foreign squads to protect them and try to make it to the end. They bring them down and they have them fight in their stead in the hopes that they will gain the honor of Queen Ildriss and her eye in court. Little do they know, most of them end up dead, and their items end up in my pile.
Speaking of your pile, I'd like to acquire a power ring off him.
He actually has a whole hand of rings and he takes one off. He hands it to you. And I'm assuming you have payment for such a fine item?
What are you looking for?
I have been wearing that ring for quite a while. I expect it has kept me spry, so I will expect at least 2 or 3 transmutes, possibly 3. Let's see how it rolls.
Let's see how it rolls.
Gives you a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, well, it's a ring. It rolls like this. I roll it a little bit across the bench in front of him.
Smart one, let's see. Do you want the item or not? There are other people willing to buy these precious items for me all around here. Look at all this money I could be making. And there's literally nobody around.
Yeah, I could see how much money you were making off those peasants who didn't have any before. And as you say, there are lots of peasants coming down here, so...
One of the reasons I cannot budge on my pricing, or else all of the flies will come to eat the shit I sell. Now, do you want this ring or not?
I do want the ring. Alas, I only have the one transmutation that you gave me before. Let's see what else I have in here.
Or you could try and roll negotiation for it. You could make a good argument.
I can't make a good negotiation roll.
I'm gonna nudge Quizzix and
Yep.
show him my non-magic iron ring that I don't want and am willing to put towards.
Sure. I take the iron ring. What say I give you this non-magical ring and this transmutation orb here in exchange?
I am running low on iron rings. So, still need a negotiation roll for that.
All right, let's give it a go. Not
Oof.
very good.
Sorry, my friend, but this thing has no magic. There is no reason for me to take it. It will do nothing but looks pretty on my finger.
It looked pretty on my finger, and it will look even prettier on your finger. That's a charm attempt. You have to
Is
use
it?
it. Yeah.
Is it a charming attempt?
As if that wasn't charming.
So Kaylah bats her eyes at the man, and he rubs his old white beard. All right, for you this one time, and only because I'll most likely get the item back tomorrow when you die. And he takes the items, and you have the ring.
All right, well, let's roll it and see how it goes. It's a D10 first, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, snap!
So now
Now it's a D10 again, and if is it 6 and above, or
roll the
something?
d10 on a roll of 10, roll again. A result of 5 or more gets a signature mod.
Nice.
Oh,
No signature.
all right. Well, it's rare.
That's all right. It's still rare.
Still
Yeah.
rare.
100.
5 and a 100.
Gotta be good, right?
1d6 to a random
Maybe.
strength for the 5. And
one wham.
one wham plus 1 wham for the 100.
Okay, so the 100 was good.
Yep. And random strength skill.
+2 to athletics.
Store up some of your weaknesses and give you a wham. It's not bad. Or you give it to
Well,
Morien.
I have a power ring that has +1 wham, so now I also have +2 athletics.
Oh shit.
Easy.
I just put down an iron ring that's got +4 life and +2 armor, and just point at one of the amber. Yes, that's right, an amber amulet.
And takes the ring and looks at it. You notice it's right. Oh, of course. Amulet here, yes. You sure you don't want to part with that wolf tail staff you have?
Just look at him like he's the biggest moron in the universe.
Yeah, you can't blame a man for trying. He hands the amulet as he looks at the ring a little bit more. Slips on his finger. Nice. Rare.
Be nice. An 8 and a 12. 82 and a 12.
82, 12.
That's on amulet.
Oh, nice. 1d10 times 2 life and 1d6 to random hit skill.
And 1d10. Oops. Be nice on the life, please.
And not bad.
Yes. Yes. So 14 life, and what was an int skill? What's int? Is this 3 int?
Yeah.
3 of them.
Yep.
Soulcraft.
Cool.
The 1d6.
It's 1d6.
Yeah, he'll always take rare items and hand you another item back because he has a much better chance of getting a better item than he gives.
Yeah. Except for those signature rolls.
Unless y'all get lucky like that. Oh, once one of these days everybody's gonna have that damn precognition thing, and it's gonna be a horrible. No, you're never gonna get a rest again. Quizzix, go ahead and make a perception check while Morien is looking at his item. Everybody else is looking over the pile of goodwill in front of them. The lady in green that Morien's been checking out this whole time is still there. Looks like she's watching y'all, eyeing you.
I eye her back. Or her front, depending on which way she's facing.
Well, she was... No, she's definitely facing towards you. She's not looking at you behind her. And she doesn't even seem like she's trying to hide that much. She is wearing bright green, which is a rare color to see among all these peasants. But she sees you look, and she winks at you and waves her hand for you to follow.
I nod at her and turn back to the others. Is everyone done here?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm good with items.
Oh, very well. Let us head this way, since I am responsible for you.
Come, children. Daddy's got a date.
I nod and follow along. Still
Okay.
mimicking the walks.
Nice.
You're following the woman.
Indeed.
The woman walks for a bit until you come to the side of what looks like a big tented off area with relatively few people. And as you crest the side, Quizzix, she walks up to you. Then seeing the rest of the party, she's like, oh, she steps back a little bit, not expecting a full squad to be there. But she still stands and asks, are you the survivors?
We are survivors. Are we the survivors? I don't know. Survivors of what?
Well, you look like them anyway. This is the time and place. Follow me.
Very well.
So she turns and goes back towards the front of the tented area, and she pulls apart some of the canvas to lead everyone in.
Yeah, go in.
You're walking through, it seems like a very very long tent, pretty large tented area. There are people sometimes popping in and out of what's closed off ruins by cloth, but who knows what they're doing in there, but they're basically making little closed cloth portions inside this tent. You can see there are holes in some of the cloth, and if you wanted to try looking, you can, but I don't recommend it. You're following her for a little while, till finally she stops at one of the closed parts and pulls back another piece of canvas and waves you to go into the room.
Oh, well, I keep following her directions.
Inside, once you step in, you can see an old woman with a long pipe, and she's sitting down around a bunch of cushions, and there are two men standing behind her in metal plate armor, which have cloth draped around the sides of it, and these cloths have has feathers sewn into them. Now, these are not the green feathers you saw from the guards. These are black and red. There is a man, the man that you saw in the line, actually sitting in the back corner on the left at a desk looking over some papers, but it's unclear what are on the papers in the corner, but it looks like he's checking those out. The room is lined with cushions, like I said, along the ground, and the two armored men stand behind the old woman, and she motions everyone to sit down with her.
Oh, I take a seat.
She's
Nice
wearing
to
cloth
Kaylah.
robes with feathers sewn in all over them as well. As you sit down, you also notice a glimpse beneath the cloth robe she's wearing. There is a small horn hanging from a chain around her neck. And that horn looks familiar. Anybody know why?
Horn as in instrument or horn as in animal part?
Instrument.
Not a unicorn horn.
Could be. It's unclear.
Wait,
but
who blew a horn? Oh, this is my short-term memory, but
Who
there
else
was...
wore a horn? Well, you'll find out in a second. Just tell me when it's time to stop, because I don't know. But anyway, she begins to speak up as everyone sits down. She takes a drag on her pipe. You're just as described. 400 years, not a day older. Shakes her head. Not even the queen has been able to achieve that.
Well, can't say I remember most of the last 400 years.
Do you remember who Kulamak is?
Nope.
Do I?
Are you the survivors?
We are the survivor.
You seem to think we are.
You look just as described. The tail of the wolf god hangs around his neck, not an item easily found. We are the children of Kulamak. I believe you may have known my ancestors, Osu and Tehan.
Indeed.
We were told to be prepared to wait. Tehan and Osu set us up as an organization within the budding Vaal to be prepared for your coming.
Yes.
We have been told to help you to repair the cycle, prevent it from being destroyed. I believe we have much to talk about.
That we do.
We are the
She
survivors.
takes a big drag.
Now we
She
know
takes a
we're the
big drag
survivors.
And coughs and laughs. Yes, I have figured that out on that. You are at the allotted time and place. Oh, it's been so long waiting. But let's start from the beginning. Osu and Tehan, our ancestors who started this, they were shown countless possible realities by the thaumaturge Calandra, and witnessed the many paths of the world. One such path revealed the end of our existence as we know it, where the great cycle of time is shattered beyond repair, where gods and men no longer reincarnate, but are cast off into the endless darkness of the unknown. When their souls escape their bodies, no one will know what happens anymore. It is uncertainty in the abyss.
We have been tasked with preventing this future from occurring at all costs.
And you are certain there's no paradoxes that you might be creating, enabling the future while you try to prevent it?
You bring up an interesting question, one that we have pondered for quite some time. Out beyond the very few people that we know of in this world, you four are able to outside of the set cycle of time, for everything else is set in stone. This is why we knew you would be here and now.
You knew we would be now. That's interesting. We didn't know we would be now.
The cycle is as it is written, but you are able to change events somehow, and we are not sure why, but you are able to change things and prevent the coming disaster.
What was
You and the thaumaturge Kalandra, but there may be others, we are unsure.
you said it was as it was written. What was written and where?
After Tehan and Osu witnessed the many different realities, they managed to remember and write down as much as they saw. Who knows how many they experienced, but in many of them, you were here at this time, in this place.
I see. Do they have any other? Is there any other writing of us at other times?
Unfortunately, once you are involved, the future becomes widely uncertain.
I see. Well, that's comforting in a way.
Unsurprising after the last however long it's been.
400 years.
400 years, didn't feel that long.
Well, you slept for most of it.
You don't look a day over 125.
Do the futures, did they mention, do you know anything written about a place called a Nexus?
Good question.
No. Although if there were a place in between times, this would be an appropriate name. It is not a place we are aware of.
Okay.
Seems to be where we go in between then and now.
Very interesting. We will keep note of this.
It seems
He
like
looks back towards the guy writing on his notes, and he just like scoffs and just puts a whole page he was writing on and throws it behind him, and then starts writing a new one.
you said that we need that we need to stop whatever's going to happen, or we were told to fix it.
Everything that has happened so far, the path we are currently on, every action that has taken place perpetuates the eventual dissolution of the cycle into, well, unknown, nothingness, the abyss. We are trapped within its confines, and because you are among the few beings capable of acting outside of these events, we hope that you can prevent this great darkness from occurring. I am not sure how, but if I were to come up with a plan myself, then it would be part of the cycle of dissolution, no matter what I think. You understand, this is the problem when trying to face against the future that you know will come to pass. Everything you do perpetuates it.
Well, if you
We
do,
are ourselves a self-fulfilling prophecy.
if you do come up with any plans, let us know, because then we certainly won't do it.
Well, I will tell you this. I don't think you're going to do too much saving within this place, and the trials are the only way out. You've been brought in as a criminal, which every single criminal act, no matter how big or small, leads you here these days within the Empire. You must face them and escape. And we have agents that will assist you throughout these trials to help ensure that you have an edge in order to succeed.
Have you faced the trials?
No. I am much too old to face these trials. I performed an act, one I am not proud of, but it landed me here. This has turned out to be a most beneficial place from which to run a secret organization.
Yes, well, it's part of the regular passage of time, I suppose. You may not be proud of it, but it was always going to happen.
I know you are right, but this does take away my free will. I do not like thinking like this. This is why you must succeed. Whether to break or to go into abyss, the cycle must change.
Yes, well, helping us, and however that may be, is certainly an act of free will to an extent.
One would hope. Although, if there is a future written, then we cannot act outside of it. None but those few special people such as you can.
Yes, but if we
But we
perform
do not have time to debate the intricacies of free will in a set system. We must prepare you for the trials. Here, we have collected some small amount of helpful currency that might be useful. She hands you 4 transmutes, 2 outs. Now, as far as the cataclysm, again, we don't know what it might be. We're not entirely sure, for it is impossible for us to know. However, it is clear that Queen Itzile has been collecting more and more sacrifices, far more than should be necessary to power the city. Almost any crime gets you down here. No one wins the trials anymore. Their blood sinks into the earth to go towards the great ziggurats. There is no need for so much magic, and so much magic cannot be a good thing. If anything were to cause a cataclysm, it would most certainly require that much power.
Well, we shall do everything in our power to avert that.
Tiberius would know something about the cataclysm, or not necessarily.
Yeah, it's pretty common knowledge. The fall of the ball.
Yeah.
You and Tiberius. It'd still require a lore check, but it'd be easy.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab 2 of the transmutes and leave
Okay.
the alks alone.
I wanted to see if I could buy, depending on how much it'll cost and stuff. I want to grab a gem, but also got stuff in my bag. I'm just the cataclysm. I feel like I've heard of this before. This happens, even in my timeline.
This happens.
Roll.
This happened.
I don't understand. You see, because I'm not.
Well, what do you remember?
You have to roll a lore check.
Okay.
You want to.
Yeah. Let me roll that.
Tiberius is easier for because it's closer to his time, but
Yeah.
it's not like
Completely.
you were educated in Orient.
Yeah.
Who knows if you took ancient Vaal history as an elective when you were in high school? Yeah, so you remember the fall of the bomb. You don't know why it happened, but you know that it had to do with excessive use of blood magic.
Yeah. Quizzix, I remember.
Which is why it's not performed anymore.
Yeah. All this blood magic, in my time, we don't use it because it led to the fall of your people, I think.
Not entirely surprising.
So we meant to stop that?
I don't know. Stopping that would certainly change the course of events for all history. If
that's what we're even meant to do. And we're just meant to fix things. Maybe we should just take it one step at a time.
Yes, and start by figuring out what is broken. Like you say, the fall of my people may very well be necessary.
Quizzix, cold and uncaring for his people. Let him die.
And there's bigger picture at stake here.
There are many shops around. The currency you have been given can be used at any of them. Don't let them hose you. Most things should only be a transmute, no more, no less. But they do expect you to haggle a bit. I'm not sure of your time. This was a thing that was done, but in ours, it is extremely important that you do. I am Inua, the Kulamak.
You may come back here at any time to rest.
Thank you, Inua.
Fun fact: I always Google the names I give to these characters, and there's some weird like Israeli song called Inua Jata. Anyway, look it up later. It's crazy. Not intentional. Anybody who speaks that language.
I don't, but I will look it up, and it'll be our background music for next week.
Every time you talk to her, it actually fits, so it's
Okay.
fine.
Cool.
While you guys go back around town, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I actually do need to go to the bathroom really quick, but I wanted to ask a question about Ice Nova, which is a spell. The way that what it says, well, I just had it there. Ice Nova. A chilling circle of ice expands from the caster, hits all enemies in your zone, increases your critical strike by 1. Enemies hit by Ice Nova are considered engaged as if they'd been hit by a melee attack. Would that just mean for that particular attack, the critical strike would be increased by 1, or would that?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, cool.
yeah, just the Ice Nova itself just gets extra crit 'cause it's ice.
Right. Okay. Yep. That makes more sense. Okay, guys, can we have a really, really quick one, like literally bathroom break, and we'll be right back.
Sweetly.
We're back. Crazy Kaylah just talking to herself
Mm.
because I left my mic open.
She's discussing how much she likes Flicker Strike and can't wait to get it. But you've been given monies. You've been told the old lady who is the head of the children of Kulamak, her name's Inua. She's given you some money to go and get yourself geared up before the trials tomorrow. There are soul gem sellers. There are shops to craft and buy gear, and there's Machinarium pieces if you want to try crafting a little machine to help you. There's a fountain in the middle. There's people to talk to, explore. You can try and mess with some of the nobles, take their stuff.
I'm going to head to the gem vendor along with Kayla.
The woman in green, she's standing outside the tent, the room that she let you in, and as you come out, she knows you're looking for the gem vendor. She walks you towards where it is, and it is a younger woman who is covered in gem, like jewelry and everything, and they're actually soul gems. She's got them all over her body, and she's just waving them at people as they walk by and trying to pawn them off. Flicker Strike, we have a many Flicker Strikes here. How many Flicker Strikes would you like?
Oh, the flicker strike. No, I
How
don't
many
actually
flicker
say
strikes
that.
could a flicker strike if a flicker strike could strike flicker?
Yes. Anyway, you look like you might have a little bit of money to spend.
Do indeed. And you're looking rather graceful. I'm wondering if I could perhaps purchase a little bit of that grace.
Oh, maybe after work. But if you would like a soul gem, then I can definitely offer it.
Indeed. And funnily enough, I'm after grace.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Pull out.
You want Grace?
Yes,
Actually trying to get Grace?
yes. It's an armor aura in this because evasion isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Very well. We have at least one of those left. Might be my last one. Could potentially go for at least an elk.
I would like to stealth at this point. Can I stealth right in front of her? And she can see me go into
No.
stealth? No? Damn.
No, you have to make an attempt to
Yeah,
be
okay.
out of the line of sight.
Mm.
I mean, you could stealth, but you'll have to be somewhere where she can't see you.
No, okay. I've got a better idea. I'll continue. I'll just stand here and watch this play out.
I don't know. I have limited funds. I pull out an orb of transmutation. I'm pretty sure I've seen most of the gems going for this price.
Most of the gems are not as graceful as this one. Do you know that the last warrior that had this came to the very last creature of the trial before falling? This is the key to victory, my friend.
Well, apparently not if he fell.
Yes,
Perhaps
and unfortunately he didn't know how to wield his grace, as I'm sure you do. But unfortunately you will have no grace unless you have the payment for it.
Well, what would you rather, a gem that no one's buying or the payment that I have right here? I say, still holding the transmute.
You make a negotiation check.
All right. I should probably put points into this someday.
Or just let Kayla do all your shopping.
I'm going to add the +0, see if that helps this time. Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
There you go.
barely.
Very well, you are on the Vaal. You are taking care of these children, so you need this a lot more than I do.
And she takes it and
Thank you.
carries the transmute back.
And I step aside and let whoever else wants to buy gems do that and immediately become more graceful.
You take the grace in. You do not see someone at the end of the trial. You actually see someone dancing in what looks like a large Vaal amphitheater, and they are putting on a performance. And at one point, their leg, something just snaps, their ankle, they step on it wrong, and they just fall over and die on stage.
Oops.
Black Swan.
That's where that soul gem came from.
Excellent. Can I, the blue ones, I'm after a curse.
And what kind of curse would you be looking for?
Fuck.
I don't think we have that one.
I pull out my dagger. An assassin's one?
Yes, I'm sure we can be of some help. I'm not sure where I might find something so vicious and terrible.
And she undoes her earring and holds it up. Here we go.
And I'll
I'm sure you have payment for such a dangerous item.
I pull the transmute out, offer it over.
Surely you understand what this can do. Your
I do.
friend here needs the grace to stay alive. This is an object of destruction. Only death can be brought by this. There is no way I can give this away for less than 2 transmutes.
I think you'd find it's worth giving that to me for 1 transmute.
And why would that be, when everyone else understands the power of such a gem?
Oh, I understand its power. Do you understand my power? Holding the dagger in my hand?
Intimidation. You make an intimidation check.
Gosh.
Should have went with charm.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't come. I couldn't think that quickly on my feet. I guess I'm more of an intimidating person. There we go.
Oh! I see a lot of myself in you, child. Very well.
She hands it to you and takes the transmute back.
And I will also use that immediately.
You see the woman before you, dressed in all black, with a dagger in her hand, murdering what you understand is her husband, as he was the previous seller of these gems.
I'm just going to wink at her and walk away.
Yeah, some of the people down here are actual criminals that became merchants, and some are just merchants let down here to sell stuff. So it's really hard to tell who's who.
I'm good with gems if you guys wanted to leave there.
I don't need anything else.
Coopz has already finished his build. He just can't find a bow.
There's no more gems. I've got them all.
Go and see if you can get another bow then. I have some jewelry. Or actually, I have a shield that you could probably...
Keep rolling bows.
If they have
Bows and
one.
bows. You also have a bunch of crafting material. You can
Oh,
try.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what special parts did we get? Because they're lying around somewhere.
These,
Oh my.
I'll put mine in Discord.
I still have 20 of Fenrith's teeth, 20 claws, 10 of the manta cutters from what's his face? It was whatever. The Lich dude. I still got some poisonous shrooms, 5 standard wall teeth, 5 wolf claws. I got 10 chunks of creation shell, 5 fangs from Venomous, and 5 of Venomous's eyes.
On a side note, Morien's starting to smell really bad because of all these animal parts he's been carrying around.
Well,
But he doesn't
well,
notice it.
normal,
It's regular old. It's the everyday stuff for him.
normal circumstances, I'd be curing it and so forth as we went, but
You're just hoping that that poisonous mushroom is going to ward the scent of everything else off.
He could probably eat them now. Y'all could.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And alchemy makes an item rare, yeah?
Yes, with no chance for signature, it just gives you 2 rolls, or 3 if it's 2-hander.
Well, 4.
Oh yeah.
4 if it's 2-handed.
well,
Oh yeah, you added
Can I use
alchemy.
alchemy on an already magic item to re-roll it to...
So that's to be white.
Yeah, because you can get an exalt, right? Oh wait, exalts. Choose a mod of your choice available.
Exalt just...
Yeah, you
slam.
can get exalt.
It's a slam. But yeah, so that would be what you would use on a And there's a chaos orb as well, which would be for an already magicked item, I think.
Yeah, it just automatically lets you re-roll the d10. But you can find all these things, including orbs, from vendors, assuming that you have the right stuff to buy it from, including white items, if you want to try and buy a white bow.
also got that signature plate, which is not super good for me, but you might still want that, Tiberius.
I thought you were going to use it because I said I would happily use it if you're not last week.
Mine. The thing is, the plus 30 threshold on mine is still a bit of a big deal right now.
It rolled too low on its life roll for you. You need to divine it up.
But if you can
That
walk
figures
around on
it's
the roof
right.
and up on walls and shit while you're shooting at stuff, that is a big advantage.
I mean, I'll
Oh
have
yeah, the Spider-Man chest piece.
Yeah, for me that doesn't really do much.
But it would be,
I
yeah.
mean, maybe it does. You could come down from the roof, just like smash something in the face. I'll give you extra wham for that.
The leap slam becomes fall slam.
Yeah, your leap slam to the roof, and then jump down from it.
Well, you guys
Like,
decide on that.
It looks dangerous.
I'd like to try crafting again because it's been a while since we tried crafting, and I
Yeah.
think I'd like to try and see if I could craft a leather helmet. Now, can you
Alright.
remind me again how it works? I need the scraps, which I've got 30
Yes.
leather scraps. So how many per?
It's gonna consume 5 for crafting attempts and some artificing rolls.
Artificing
Yeah.
rolls,
use that.
and then I can. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I've got
You can
just
also
the helmet.
Oh, you've just got a leather helmet. Oh, but it's more fun if you actually craft it.
I mean, you can craft on it.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So if you don't mind, I'll take that normal leather helmet. And what will I use? I think I want to use feathers.
all right, still requires an artificing roll
Yep.
in order to implement them into the helmet. But which feathers are you using?
Feathers
from,
definitely thematic for the period we're in right now.
Yeah. So these are actually the feathers from the sack wool that I grabbed.
Well,
so-
fine, yeah.
Oh, I have no artificing, but that's cool.
I have 8 artificing if you want me to do
As do I.
All right, somebody with some artificing, do something cool with it. Make me a nice helmet with,
Tiberius, go for
Find
it.
my table that I have.
Oh yeah.
Yes. All right, I'm ready with the helmet.
So I'm just rolling a 1d10.
So
Roll over.
for 1d10 for the plus your artificing,
Plus 8.
and it's gonna sacrifice 5 feathers, 5 scraps, or no scraps. It's a pre-made helmet. Oof.
Wow, man. Thanks.
So yeah, the helmet does not change, and feathers are still destroyed.
Okay.
I
Trying
would,
to put the feathers into it, but they just don't make sense in a leather helmet. You end up breaking the helmet trying to sew them in.
Can I grab the feathers, grab the helmet, and look at Quizzix and be like, Maybe you know how
Well,
to
the
do that better.
helmet
It's
is
gone now?
kinda fucked up.
What if I give him
feathers
some
are
leather
fucked up.
scraps too? I've still
Yeah,
got 5
you
feathers.
could try and
I mean, I can
he'll
roll
just
it
make
into
a new
a
one
ball
with
at
those
this point.
scraps.
You can roll it into a ball. No, but
Yeah.
your people seem to wear feathers in their hats. Surely you know what you're doing
Yeah,
more than
they-
What do you
wear
mean, your
feathers in
people?
hats. This is not a hat anymore.
Well,
Yeah,
here,
so
take-
you'll have to make a new one because
Okay.
the helmet and because on the one roll the helmet's destroyed
Yep, that's
along
fine.
with the material. But you can make a new one. Y'all got a lot of scraps. I've got like 1 million of them.
I wouldn't mind giving a go crafting a cloth chest. I've got.
Are you gonna do our helmets?
No, I'll do my own helmet. Screw you guys.
I can do your helmet if you want.
Do it. No, you do the chest. I'll do the helmet. I didn't know if anyone else wanted to craft anything. That's why I was letting everybody have a go.
Would I be able to get some of those creation scales? See if I can give it a go.
How many cloth
Sure.
scraps do you have?
I have 15, which
Okay.
should be enough.
Yeah.
It's 5 for the base item, right? In general.
Yep.
Yeah. So Morien, can I have a go using some creation scales?
Sure. While they're doing that, I'm going to go see if I can find an unused heavy chest. Just a white
I'm gonna go try and trade in my
plate
2
mail.
random magic bows for other white bows to craft on.
Okay, so one thing at a time.
Ildriss is making.
Yeah, do
Successfully
the rolls.
craft your chest using the feathers. So go ahead and roll for the magic or rare.
The scales.
The scales. The feathers of the
Scales.
The scales of the
Right.
yeah. So
Okay.
a roll of d10 was it?
Yeah, roll a d10 to find out. And it is just regular magic, but you have a pretty good chance of it getting a defensive roll for those scales. So now you roll 1d100. 7. What?
Oh, that's nice. Although
Puts it
you're...
at 1d10 lifetimes too.
All right.
So not exactly
Is
the
it?
energy shield, but puts it at 1d10 life. Not bad.
Well, at least it's a good roll.
Wait, are you looking at armor?
He used scales which alter the
Makes it more-
ranges on
yeah.
the rolls. That's
There's
why
also-
you use them.
Crappy. This table's wrong, but
And Morien's going to find a chest.
Just a white. Then I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to
Yeah, so
have a quick chat with Quizzix.
so you
I'm
stole
gonna
my
go-
order. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just walk around. It looks good.
So actually,
No,
just roll a
okay.
straight 1d10 real quick.
Crap. Okay, I was joking, but all right. Let's go with that.
It may work out. Oof! No, you can't just. What are you
No.
doing?
I was
You
just
get to
looking at
pay for
this.
that. You think those growing trees, big man? I told you I would give you anything for that necklace, but you still have to pay for all these things. One transmute orb or an equivalent item.
I won't give him that, but I'll give him. I will give him a single one of Fenris's claws.
You talking in your head? Because he doesn't know that.
Well, I'll tell him this claw came from the same wolf.
It's pretty big. So takes out his glass and it lights up. Ugh.
It's the same wolf. You could try putting that in a pillow.
It is too, but I'll need more than one in order to do anything. 2 claws, and the chest is yours.
I give him 2.
Very well. Enjoy.
and
Takes
you
a big
roll,
bite on one and puts it to the side.
you roll a sleight of hand to give him just a regular wolf claw for the second one.
I've got regular wolf claws, but no.
Wait, a
The thing
sleight
is
of
he-
hand in here?
I don't
Nah.
think
Hold up. I don't think
he
it
would
is.
Probably like
I wouldn't do
or
that
something,
anyway.
stealth.
Yeah, Morien doing sleight of hand would be like the worst.
Yeah.
Morien might unthinkingly walk up and pick it up and go, "Yeah, that's good," and go to walk off.
Yeah, just think it's his now.
Yeah, that's fine. But no.
All right,
But
Tiberius, what were you doing?
I'm just gonna walk up and smile at the guy and put the same magic bow that he gave me before and point at one of the just the normal regular ones.
Of course, my friend. Anything for a valued customer such as yourself. Hands you another bow.
Excellent.
Hangs that one up.
sorry, thought I heard someone at the door.
And we've got alchemies left, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's used any of them.
I'm gonna take one of the alchemies that we've got saved up. And do I need to use the alchemy and other stuff?
You can to alter the rolls, but
Okay.
you'll need an artificing roll. And again, if you do that and you roll a 1, it destroys the item. But
It's not gonna happen
you
twice.
know,
It's not going to happen twice.
Get lucky on artifice. It'll be fine.
What do we have that I can steal?
basically like fossil crafting with these things. So Alk is equivalent to one of those fossil, whatever you call them, fossil things. Resonators.
I just don't know what I want to put on it, like what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
Right.
there's not a real. They're never going to be like laid out. You can reasonably assume that like the scales, for example, are going to be defensive, or teeth are going to be offensive, but it's really hard to tell for the most part.
So I've got 2 full wolf teeth.
What's the base item that would be needed for crafting a dagger? Metal scraps, I assume?
Yeah, it's going to be metal. I think that you have. Well, you might have more leather scraps than anything. Metal is going to be more common. But metal is what you need to craft most. Like that.
Yep.
I'm just gonna forgo using any of the scraps or anything, and I'm just gonna use an Alk on that bow.
All right. Ooh. Roll your hundreds. 72. Wow, that's an easy one.
72, 71, 89, 88. They're right next to each other.
So 1d8 life leech twice, and
That's
one wham twice. Woo! That's a bow right there.
That's a better bow, finally.
Good lord. So you got to roll for your
1d8
life
twice.
leech. Yeah, 1d8 twice, but that's a bow right there.
7 life leech. That's solid.
No, it's just 1d8 life leech, yeah.
No, because you got
so-
7.
You
so-
roll it twice.
So it's a 6 and a 1, so it's only 7 life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 life leech. And 2
Jesus. Yeah, that's a bow right there.
wham on that bow because it's 3 at base, right? For 2-hander.
Oh, it is 2A.
That's a nice bow.
Finally.
You can stop whining.
Yeah, so does anyone have any metal scraps on them already, or shall I have a look around and see what I can acquire in this
I have
probably
those
highly metal scrap dense area?
couple of gold and silver ones. Add 2 silver and 1 gold scrap. If you're free to take them.
I want functional, not decorative.
Yeah, okay. They're probably better off for armor
maybe I
for
could do
making
it
rings and
decorative.
stuff, but
I was going to say, your Vaal, isn't it all about being decorative?
This is true. And I'm a spellcaster, so
Making a lot of assumptions, all right? He's a person. He's not just Vaal.
no, that's his people. They're his people.
What do you mean?
They've made it very clear that we're foreigners and he's in charge of us, so they're his people.
I will have a look around and see if I can acquire some metal scraps then.
All right, so the seller of gear does have a lot of metal items, possibly some scraps. He's obviously buying them. Go and check it out and see if he has any. But you can percept to see if you see any lying around.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just taking a bit of a stroll around the market looking for some scraps lying around that aren't going to cost me anything.
Mm.
So there's a perception.
Plus 19. So yes, you are able to find a few scraps lying around among it, but it seems like people are there's a bunch of like destitute people that are pretty much picking up anything shiny they can find to try and buy weapons. So 3 metal scraps can be found on the ground under some dirt.
So maybe I do make it decorative then. 3 metal scraps and some gold or whatever it was you had.
I have 2 silver, so you could add to make 5.
Yep. Well, let's do that. Let's see if I can make a nice decorative dagger.
All right. Usually those are used for jewelry, but it's fine. Go ahead and sacrifice them with precious metals with your unprecious metals.
Yeah.
And make a great
It'll be
dagger.
fine.
Use anything else?
Um,
You can use anything else?
yeah, what do we got? Let's have a look. Well, there's definitely plenty of weapon-based stuff going around with the Fenris teeth and claws, but Venomous fangs could be a potential candidate for a dagger, right?
Yeah, that sounds alright, actually. Makes sense. Spidery.
Mhm. I might give it a go with those, unless you've got a particular use for them in mind, Morien.
You can have. Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to
I
use
do
the
have an idea, but we haven't used
Venomous
everything up yet.
fangs.
Yeah. Have at it.
Nope.
No.
It's all right.
Ooh.
You've been getting all the bad rolls. It had to go around sometime.
And you try to put it all together, but the metal cuts your hand and you drop it into the dirt during the process, ruining the integrity of the temper. All dead. All venomous fangs are destroyed, and you get a little bit on your hand that it burns. You have to get Morien to come give you an antidote.
But in the meantime, all that blood is causing some real magic stuff going on.
At least he looks like it is. He's just super high when the venomous venom.
Yeah, have some shrooms. I mean,
That's true. You've been carrying those for a while. They're about dried, ready for consumption.
Alright, so let's break this curse. I'm going to use 5 leather scraps and the 5
Use
remaining
Assassin's
feathers.
Mark, right?
Use Assassin's Mark. No, the 5 leather scraps and 5 feathers to try and make a leather helmet.
All right.
Oh, thank God. I didn't roll 1.
All right. So, yeah, it's fine. You do craft it with the helmet. Now you made it regular magic though, because it's not high enough.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance to roll it anything but magic.
Oh, wait, it's 1d100. Hey, my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
extra 0 there.
Okay, 93. Yeah, go figure.
3 use feathers on a helmet, right?
Yep.
That. One d10 to life. 1d10 times 2 life. It was almost 1d4 resist, which is the exact same as the normal roll.
Would anyone like my metal helmet that has 2 athletics on it? Because I'm going to replace that
I'm sure the vendor would.
before I try and give it to the vendor.
no.
Did you name your Spider-Man chest?
It sounds like we did.
I did. The name was there when I put it in here before.
Yeah, you don't want that, right? I can put that on.
Yes, you may. Yeah, he's found the name.
Tiberius is going to be standing on the ceiling, which is going to be cool that he can shoot from there. The problem is everybody can see up his robe.
Well, he's standing on the ceiling. He'll be
It's just
upside
going to, yeah.
Yeah, which is going to fall down.
Mr. GM,
All
good
right.
sir. I would like to make a bit of a big dick move.
Oh,
I'd like to use a little bit of each one of my gods onto
Okay,
the
so
chest of the armor.
hold on. What each piece do you have here?
I have a little bit of everything, including some of that blood that we collected to open the portal.
Oh, well, did you actually collect some of that?
We did.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd never have been able to open the portal.
Yeah, you just poured it all out. I don't remember saying they kept in.
Even if it's just a little bit.
All right, that's fine. What items are you using specifically?
Well, that's what I was saying. I'd like to use a little bit of each. So,
Yeah, I
like,
need to know the names.
a bit of, so like, because we need at least 5 things, right? So a bit of blood, one of the claws, one of creation shells, one of venomous eyes, and what does that leave
You
us
have,
with?
yeah, there's shells left. How many go get? Scales.
Wolf teeth.
Fenris teeth.
Okay, because there's a. Okay, well, give me 1 second while I do the freaking math on all that. Teeth, scale, eye.
Instead of using like 5 of
Yeah.
each, use one of
everything
each.
cancels out and you roll your item normally.
Well, it might.
Well, this is
Right.
what I'm asking the GM. The idea this is going to be, something a little different.
You can give it a shot. As
You
far
can
as
just
the actual way this works, it doesn't. It's actually going to mostly cancel itself out because they pull itself in different situations.
That's why you're the GM. You just make shit up and we see what happens.
Yeah, but you can see what happens depending on your role. That is.
Artifice, which I have literally nothing in, so let's give it a shot and see what happens.
Hoping that the gods smile upon you and you don't just roll a 1 like everybody else.
Be nice.
Okay. All right. So above a 5 means you get the roll to see if it's magic or rare.
So that's another.
So roll another D10.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right. So with your use of all the god items, we're gonna say that's signature. So roll another D10. There you go. There's your penance that you asked for.
Second spider chest.
Everybody gets a spider chest.
Spider chest for everyone.
Oh no!
Second spider chest.
No.
It's just rare, unfortunately.
Just rare. It'll look really cool though.
Oh yeah, it looks badass already.
2D 100s. Let's see what we get. 12 and an 80.
So it doesn't actually pull everything out. Give me 1 second. So it's still going to be, it's 1d6 random skill for sure, and 1d4 armor. Random skill without an attribute.
Oh, I see. The non-attributes. There's
4 of them.
There's 4 of them. Right. Three is intimidate. So plus 3 intimidate. Intimidate and 1d4 armor. 3.
It's a big burly chest, definitely intimidating, using all the animal parts built into it. It's pretty scary.
It actually works, yeah.
Eye in the center of the chest, just staring at you menacingly.
It's got eyeballs in it, so it's definitely scary.
Quizzix, I have a metal helm that I'm willing to trade in for metal scraps if you wanted to try again for a dagger. Otherwise, I'll just take the transmute.
Or just trade it in for a regular dagger and I'll throw an alch on it.
That works better. All right. So I'd like to go back to the vendor. That I was very charming too. and he liked me. And show him my magic helmet and say, "This makes you jump higher and run faster." Can I get a
You'll
dagger?
make me jump higher, my good woman. But what would you like?
See that dagger? Just the normal one.
Of course, of course. He hands it to you, takes the helmet.
Thanks.
Anything else you need. I will always jump higher when you're around. And you turn, you barely notice out of the back of your eye, he creepily sniffs the helmet before putting it away.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to give Quizzix the normal dagger. I'm being particularly nice because I know that my fate is in his hands at the moment.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw an elk that I have on that dagger.
$69, 27. No creature items, right?
Nope, just throwing an elk on it.
Threshold effect duration by 1. And 1d8 life.
Well, you roll shitty bows, I roll shitty daggers.
All right.
Are we all done with
Gotten
crafting?
lots of gear. Couple upgrades at least.
So the last thing I want to do before we do any, like before we decide to move on, is fill up my water skin. I'm not going to assume. I'm going to see that there are quite a few sources of flowing water. And
There's a big fountain in the center.
have we seen anyone else fill up water skins or anything at it?
Well, you haven't walked over to it. You just know it's there.
Okay. I'd like to walk over to the water fountain,
All right.
pull out my empty water skin and just look and see if anyone looks at me really weird after doing that.
I mean, there are a lot of people looking at you weird because you're a foreigner, but there are other people that are using the fountain to pull water from. It seems to be magically cleaned in some way, and it's flowing into a drain at the bottom and out up the top. It's like flowing all around back into the pool.
So I'm just going to fill up my water skin there and look at, even though everybody has one, don't they? I'm going to look at my companions and just sort of point at it.
Yep.
Yeah, you made them for him.
I
That's
don't know
right,
if I
yeah.
made one for everybody though. I think I only made 3 in the end.
Well, I think she already had one.
Yeah, that's right.
A smaller one, and you made good ones for everybody else.
Yes.
It's a good opportunity to fill up.
Yes.
And I can smell I think I can smell food. I can smell something. And
Oh,
my
yeah, there's
stomach
food
starts to
around.
grumble.
Smells like sweaty people, and there's some food being cooked somewhere.
So I'm going to follow my nose to find the food vendor.
All right, make a
Make a check.
perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, just because you wouldn't necessarily be able to just find it. Uh-oh.
No!
We on that bullshit again?
Don't do this to me!
Wait, did you put a space before the 8?
Nope. Oh, that's fine. I did that. It's just slow. So yeah.
All right, so you do see a number of Vaal citizens carrying what looks like little fried, almost like wontons, little fried cake things. And they're chomping on them, coming from your right, further down the chamber.
I'm just going to start heading over there. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable down here now that I've got my bearings about me, and I haven't seen anyone that's appeared to sort of try and, you know.
Yeah, no, you look more put together, like better weapons and armor than most people. So they all are assuming that you're been hired by some Vaal noble to protect them. Either way, they're not going to mess with you.
Yeah, so I'm going to head over to that vendor and see what I can get.
There is a couple cooking little fried cakes. Some of them have meat in them, some have unidentifiable greens in them, and the meat is unidentifiable too. But everyone else seems to like them, so hopefully they're not horrible.
Can I get enough for 4, please?
Enough for what?
4 hungry
Just
soldiers.
messing with you. Nobles don't often eat these. How many did you like for? Enough for 4? Cassie, how much for 4? And she goes, you know how much for 4? More at the same price as any time that no one else for 4. Whatever. All right, give me a transmute and let's get you fed.
A transmute, and that'll be enough for my whole party. All 4 of us.
I don't know how much they eat, but it's enough for 4 people like me.
No, you see that big man over there? And I point
We're,
over
like,
to
far
Morien.
away from him, so he looks and just sees a lot of people.
There are many big men over there.
That biggest one. It's enough for him too? The biggest one you can see. Enough for him?
He's definitely looking at a big man that's not Morien.
I guess that he could stomach these, yes.
Okay. I hand over a transmute.
Yep. And you 12 little fried cakes full of meat and veggie.
And
Sorry,
while I'm
yes.
standing there, I'm going to try one of the meat ones. I'm going to pop one of the meat ones in my mouth.
Of
They're
course
really
you
hot,
are.
but they're good.
Not
A little
bad.
spicy. A little chili powder in there. But they're good. They're like little meat pies. There is a name for them that I can't remember.
Not bad. If we make it through tomorrow, we'll be back. Maybe.
Everyone says that if you're going to the trials. Well, I hope not to see you again, either way.
Thank you, Fabio. Thank you. And just like,
Unsure whether that was telling you that he wants you to die or succeed. He goes back to yelling at his wife and cooking his
Doesn't
cake.
want you to pussy out and not go in.
apparently I've been paid quite well to escort you through these trials.
Yeah,
So
we got paid. A few transmute some alks.
I'm going to bring back these little pie cake things to you guys. I'm not sure if you're probably still at the fountain, and hand out 3 to each of you. Assuming you take it.
Still
I'm
high.
going to offer 3.
Oh, where did you get these?
Om nom nom.
I point to my right.
It's been some time since I've had food of this finery.
Pretty
Yeah,
good,
you would know
actually.
what these are, Quizzix, and I can't think of the name of them, but you would definitely recognize these little cakes as a local delicacy made by your people.
Blood cake.
And they're shitty, like
They're not all
refugee,
blood cake. Jesus.
Blood
shitty
cake.
quality ones that have been produced down here, but it's still better than anything I had back in the last couple
Yeah.
of weeks.
It's like you haven't had it in so long, it brings a tear to your eye just to smell them.
Morien?
I'll certainly have them. Thank you very much, Kaylah.
A little bit more processed for Morien than other things he's seen, but they smell good enough.
And I just
They ain't random cave mushrooms, but they'll do.
And I'll just put them in front of Tiberius's face without even acknowledging his existence. And he'll eat them, I assume.
Yep.
Just stop at his toe and jam it in when his mouth opens.
Yes, I like that better. I did that.
Make an attack roll. All right. Got food, water. There are still other. There's people all around. There's nobles and people walking around. There is the machine shop, and Enola said that you could rest at her place because the trial is in the morning. So it will be. It is still nighttime, even though it's hard to tell what time of day it is down here. Technically, it's still nighttime.
Yes, we should probably rest.
Do you think we should see if we can find out anything more about what we're going to face tomorrow?
Yes, and I
It
have an
changes
idea.
every time.
I have an idea. I'm gonna find a quiet corner spot somewhere out of the general public, point
The
of
only
view.
spot that would be out of general public, like without people watching you, would be back at the tents because they're closed off for that very reason. It's super
I'll
hard
head
to
back.
find any privacy in this area.
I'll head back to the tent then, but before actually taking a rest, I'm going to use that new spirit talker ability.
All right, you head back to the tent. Inua points you to a closed off room in which you can stay. It's enough for 4 people to not very comfortably, but at least reasonably stay in privacy, which is actually a big deal down here. There's not much room. And Quizzix starts to conjure up a spirit. Is everyone else with him?
Yep.
Yeah, I would have followed.
All right. Who has higher than 10 soul crafting or soul manipulation?
I've got 12 soul manipulation.
19 soul manip,
All right.
14 soulcraft.
Yeah, 12 soul
So
craft.
Kaylah, you know what?
12 soul craft.
Oh, okay, nice. So you all can actually see this spirit, but only Kaylah can understand it when it speaks. Tiberius can see it, and Morien can see it, but Kaylah can actually hear it too. Tiberius could be a dick if he wanted to hide it from everybody, but just to mess with Quizzix, like, oh, why isn't this working? It always works. Other than that, though, you're going to try and summon a spirit. All right, so go ahead and make a soul crafting roll. See how strongly you can pull the spirit into the living realm.
35.
Oh, nice. Almost a completely, fully visible person. Definitely an ancient Vaal. Looks almost like, and also like which era are you trying to pull them from? That is the question too. Recent.
As
old.
recent as possible.
Okay.
Hair. Because I want to remove the hair.
It doesn't have hair anymore.
Talking to
Tiberius flicks his hand out clandestinely, and the Vaal who rises out with glorious hair, like Fabio style feathers in it, suddenly disappears, and it's bald, and he doesn't see this, but everyone else does. And this looks like a warrior that went into the trials recently. He's been stabbed through. You can see the wounds. It looks like big, huge bite marks through his chest. Oh, why do you wake me?
I'm looking for information. You seem to have been through these trials.
We've all been through trials. Mine were a little more painful.
Yes, what exactly did you face in your trials?
Yeah. I didn't make it through the first melee, but it was an open arena. Many creatures, many people flailing about in the dust. I was taken upon by a chimera and run through.
And you went in with many other people also attempting to do the trials, you say?
They send many in at once. More blood that way. More chance to succeed, too. We must try and make it to the labyrinth beyond the melee. That is where the true trials begin.
I see. I glance over at the others, and I guess Morien and Tiberius are kind of just staring off into space, but Kaylah appears to have been listening.
Yeah, I'm just
Tiberius
nodding my
still
head.
looks like you're gonna-
Like I'm poking at like the big holes in the ghost.
Too disrespectful.
I've been listening quite intently.
Well, that is definitely good information to have. I suppose we shall just have to do better.
The bull is the problem. Each person who makes it past the melee makes it to the bull, and they are defeated. Massive creatures, these bulls. Large, twice the size of a man, and well armored. I don't know what they feed them, but whatever it is, they grow so big.
Well, quite possibly the blood of the fallen.
I don't think we in theory would give up something so precious to animals like that. But you may be right, but magic must be involved. I am tired. Let me sleep, Mage.
You may rest.
He fades back away, and as he goes back to the ground, his hair reappears just before his head dips beneath the earth.
We'll make it past the melee. We need to focus on that bull, I think.
And what comes in the labyrinth after? Well, have you thought about what question you're going to ask overnight, Kaylah?
Of course not. Why would I have done that?
Well, what could we possibly ask about the next 24 hours?
It's got to be yes, no answer, or no, not necessarily. I always forget this too.
No, it's just what happens the next 24
Information
hours.
about the... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I might ask if we come across a puzzle, how do we solve it? Something like that.
That seems very open-ended.
Yeah.
Yes, you
I
need
have to
better
be
questions for
cryptic,
smart-ass
so-
DMs than that.
Yeah, like there's a chance that he gets to tell a lie anyway, but you don't want to give him
Make it even worse,
open,
yeah.
like a blank canvas for being as cryptic as possible.
What's the best way
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
labyrinth?
Exactly what you want to do.
What direction should we take to go through the labyrinth?
Forward. All right. Anything to do before resting? All right.
I think I'm done.
Everyone
I don't think so.
lays down to sleep. Has a good night's sleep. Except for Tiberius, for some reason he could still hear Morien with that damn rabbit. And Morien's not actually eating the rabbit at this point. It's just a psychological thing about Tiberius. So he hears Morien smacking on a rabbit. Wakes up many times in the night to glare at him and then sees he's just fast asleep. It's happening. And after quite a while, you hear a lot of running around. Inua sends a man to go and wake you all up, and he opens. The trials will be starting soon. You need to get up. Get up, you lazy bones.
I'm ready. Just about.
No, I didn't ask my question.
Oh, yeah, that's true. What's your question?
Always got away with it.
What do I need to do to succeed in the trial tomorrow?
All right, so you, in your dreams, you see an older version of yourself come forward, stands before you, and you ask the question, what do I need to do to succeed in the trial tomorrow? And she looks you straight in the eye, and for a moment, there's nothing but silence until she just says, survive. She fades away. Although seeing yourself in the future may give you more, maybe more telling than any question you could have asked.
Why
Knowing
was
that
I
you were
dead?
at that age.
Oh, okay, no, that's
Because you weren't dead.
because I wasn't dead. Perfect.
Yeah, because the four of us definitely have a future that's set in stone and can't be altered.
Yeah.
Look, I saw it
Not
in a
like
mirror,
the whole
man.
theme.
I saw
you
it in a
saw-
mirror.
You saw the mirror of potential futures and presents and past.
But we know that whatever Osu and Tehan saw, something came to pass from it.
Yeah. They knew that they were set within the timeline, but you guys aren't. So what they saw, it will come to pass. What you guys saw, who knows? But anyway, so it is the morning, breakfast time. You all wake up and talk amongst yourselves before heading off.
Find a piece of rabbit and give it to Tiberius.
It's still good. You salted it and cured it on the way, so it's good. Rabbit's tasty. Tiberius with red eyes.
Is everybody ready for today?
Hang on, somebody's at my door. One moment.
Morien goes to the clock, picks it up, sees who's knocking on it.
Whilst
What
he's-
time were we wanting to wrap up?
Yeah, I was
Was
just
it
about
about
to say
six?
there's about 20 minutes.
Now. To be fair, like I don't think we're going to be able to do much more. That's not going to.
Other than have our chat, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't want to jump into something. Like I don't want to jump into.
Shall we end the trial and leave it on a cliffhanger?
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to do before we head in.
I'm good to go.
I don't think we even get would we even get a chance to sort of? Well, there's not really much else we could do. We know about as much as we're going to know.
If you didn't do it last night, pretty much time to go.
Yeah.
Enough time to eat breakfast and leave. All right, so we'll just set it up, tell you everything, our news. All right, so you are all ready to go. You talked it out last night. You did everything you needed to do, and you make your way out of the tents across to the other side of the chamber where Inua pointed out they will be collecting for the trial. Once you reach there, you see there is a roped-off area in front of what looks like a massive stone doorway, like a walkway. Two huge stone doors block it off, though, and around the outside of the doors are hieroglyphs in green and red. You can see there's a small door to the right of this, and inside there's some sort of unidentifiable mechanism with pulleys, but guards all are around this roped-in area, and the first time you've seen them throughout, you come up, you walk up to them, and they recognize you. They recognize Quizzix, they pull up his paper, and they pull you in. You're standing inside the staging area for quite a while, and as you're standing there, more and more people begin to come into the staging area too, as they're led in by the guards. So you see the soldiers you saw back at the guard processing area, the ones that were like smiling and laughing, they're looking real confident. There's 4 of them as well, 2 men and 2 women wearing leather armor with well-kept swords at their sides. They're joking with each other and super ready to do this, confident in their strength. Other people around you include random ragged ball citizens, some with weapons, some with just nothing but bare hands and vacant stares. They're just ready to get it over with. And quite a few older Vaal are here too, like old men and women. I guess they're looking to go out with a bang, rather than just dying in their deathbeds. There's a few contingents of foreigners with very well armed, they're very well armed. They're shining armor, really like actual magic gear, and they're surrounding finely dressed Vaal sponsors, which look like nobles of Vaal that have hired these people to carry them through the trials, hopefully. But after some time standing there, the guard captain walks out from the room with the contraption in it, steps in front of the crowd gathered within the staging area, quiets everyone down. Yadi, today you have elected to face the trials to prove your work to their great nation. This trial consists of tests of both strength, will, and intelligence. Should you fall, die knowing that you will still serve to benefit the Vaal, even in death. Are there any questions? He nods to the guard standing to his left, and the guard disappears into the room. After a second, the mechanism behind him begins to creak to life, and the stones in front of you slowly slide up to reveal a long ramp running up towards the light. And a cheer can be heard coming from above through the ramp, and the crowd around you begins to rush upwards, just running towards the light. The group of soldiers is leading the charge with their weapons out. And I guess we'll call it there before we reach top of the ramp, see what's what. Make it a short one. We'll be back next time.
Indeed.
See you next week, guys.
Catch you next week.
No level.
See you guys.
No level.
Yeah.
No level this
No
one.
level.
That's fine. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Oh, and here's your remaining feats.
No, the very first thing I'm doing next session is stealthing and maybe maneuvering.
Oh, okay.
I'm
If
guessing.
you want me to wait, then I'll wait.
Yeah, give it to us when they're appropriate. Don't dump it in there now.
Cool. Thank you. Oh, before I go though,